So we go to Set up Online Backup, and it's going to give us a very familiar Windows tree structure view. So we have the different drives that are available. We can expand the drives. If I select the drive name, I see the files that are directly on that drive. And if I scroll down, I'll see some folders as well, if there are any. Checking a box means we're going to back up everything on that drive. If there's a square checkbox, or a square in the checkbox, it means that something in this directory is selected for backup, but this entire directory is not going to be backed up. So by having this checkbox here, it means anything I add to the F drive is going to go off-site when the next incremental backup runs. So this is good. I'll hit Next. Now it's going to ask us for our schedule for the online backup portion. So it looks like we just had a schedule interrupt our schedule setting, so we can show the backup running here. And we can just expand and see what's going on as the backup runs. The email reports are going to include a summary of the number of files that have been backed up, the files that didn't change and didn't need to back up, and also any files that failed to back up for whatever reason. And the email is going to list out the top 20 errors, if any, of this backup job. You can schedule the backup report to go out to multiple email addresses. So you and your support staff, as well as your customer. So that on a regular basis, you can see the summary of backup information as you choose. For the restore options, let's say now that we've got the backup, we have the local backup job selected and running so that we can get the image-based backups off-site. Through this system, we've also gone through and selected a file folder backup system. Let's talk about recovering this information. So we go to the restore option. We have the online restore wizard, which we can select here. And this is going to refresh and give us a calendar view. Each bold date means that there's a backup that was run on this date. So we can go back. If we want to really go back from years, you can do that. Again, we have unlimited version history at no cost to the customer. So we only count the largest version of a file. So if you have 300 versions of your PST file, and that PST is 2 gigs on day 1 and 4 gigs on day 300, you have 3 versions per day. You don't need 2 terabytes of backup space to have access to all those versions, and we're also not going to purge out any versions away from you. This is a huge benefit to those of you who are really serving the financial and the legal industries. That versioning is huge, as most of their compliance, SAS 70, Sarbanes-Oxley, has to do with retention periods, and we never purge data from our customers' backup sets. So we can select that, and it'll refresh back to a previous day, or we can just select the current, or add in some different filters. We hit Next, and now it's going to refresh our backup date and show us all the machines on the left side panel, and again, the Windows tree structure view. You select what you want to recover. And let's say I just want to recover my F drive because that's where all my images were going. I can just hit, okay, great, next, and then recover and define the location where I'm going to recover this information to. And in the interest of time, I'm just going to show you what it looks like with the images locally. So let's say we recover that image, and now it's available on our local machine, and now we got to get it up and running or get some data from it. So I can go back into the bare metal image creator wizard and hit a recovery view, so restore or explore backup, or I can simply in Windows Explorer open up the location where I've recovered this information, and you can right-click an image and do a mount or a quick mount, and it'll open up the wizard there too. So you don't always have to go directly to the software. You can just right-click these files, and it'll mount for it as a virtual drive. I'm going to go through the wizard and show you what it looks like here. So through Explore Backup, probably the more common strategy in backup is just going to ask you, well, what do you want to recover? I'm just going to select something from backup job 9, and then you see the incrementals identified after the backup job number is identified. I hit Open, gives us a summary of what I'm looking at. I hit Next. And then it's going to say, hey, in this backup job, we recognize a whole boatload of incrementals. Which one do you want to recover to? I say, well, let's go to 36. Again, more summary. I hit next, and then it's going to ask you, okay, we're going to recover this to a virtual drive. Which drive letter would you like to name this? A big list, pick whatever you want. Like, so go with Z. You can mount it as a read-only if you're moving the destination of your backup. But if you actually want to read and write the data, then you'd uncheck that. Hit next, and then this is the intelligent recovery chain I was talking about. So it's going to intelligently recover full and then each incremental and sequential order on your behalf. You hit finish, and then it's going to launch us right into the new Z drive as soon as it's ready to go. So there it is. We have now another drive letter, exchange volume Z, with the exchange information in here. Which leads us into our EGR client. Now that we have some exchange database information, what can we do with that exchange database? We open up the EGR client, and if we follow just this list here from left to right, first is let's select the source. So where is this EDB file that you have from Exchange? So I'm going to go back to that Z drive. We're going to go to Exchange. We're going to go to Mailbox, Mailbox Database, and then we finally get to the EDB. It's going to intelligently, identify where the additional log files are. If they're, for whatever reason, in another location, you can always browse that location. It doesn't pigeonhole you in there. Temporary file path. This typically just goes to your C drive. It's not going to be any bigger than a couple hundred megs at which is the largest we've seen. So at most you're looking at a gig of temporary space. So usually you don't have to change that. You hit next or OK, and then it's going to populate the information that is stored in this EDB file here in the top left source box. So if we expand on the user, we see they have a calendar, contacts, draft, we got some files in their inbox, all this information that you would have in a typical Exchange environment. This, of course, being a demo. Next is, now that we have it, what do we want to do with it? We can target this to a PST file, which is more common for electronic discovery. Anyone into electronic discovery? Usually has to do with businesses merging or being bought out, or lawsuits. Typically you get this as a court order to do some electronic discovery, or if you're gathering all your IP for different investor groups, whatever it is, this gives you a nice tool to do that. Typically we're just going to target the live Exchange server. The scenario most common is pick anyone in your organization. Executive A always deletes mail, or invites or attachments, and they come to you and they say, hey, there's a really important attachment. I need to find it. Can you help me? So this is going to load what the existing Exchange comes with. And let's say the scenario is user 1 comes and says, hey, there's a really important message and I deleted it. I can't find it. It has an attachment about management guidelines. Can you help me find it? So you hit the search button, and then it has an option where you can search across the entire database or just that specific user. So we'll just search the specific user. And he says, well, or she, it's an attachment and it has to do with management. So we type in management, and then we hit find now, and we get these emails. So we look at this and say, okay, it's October. When did you get it? You could set that date as well, but we just searched for everything. Let's go ahead and double click and open it up and see if this is the right one. Here's the email. Here's the attachment, management guide. Is that it? Yes. Perfect. So now we say, okay, go back to your desk, or you're on the phone with them and say, okay, I'm recovering it to you now. Done. So very simple to do. Let's say we want all the files. We can just shift select all these files here and drag and drop them into the inbox as well. Just as simple. Let's say we need to search across, we need to know who in this organization has this document. So we're going to search across the whole EDB file, and we're going to hit find now, and then we find all the different users who have the TDB file. And then maybe you export that into a PST, or you just save the report and give it to someone else. It's a very flexible program. It also allows us to recover or restore specific mailboxes, simple drag and drop. You just pull it on here, and we're good to go. It's going to recover that. So no problem there. Let's say we wanted to migrate hardware for our Exchange server. Same simplicity built into this. Let this finish up. All right, great. We can take this whole source EDB file and just drag it onto the new hardware. And then say, okay, are you sure you want to do this? I say yes, and they say, well, we see that there are some mailboxes that don't exist currently. Do you want those to be created? Awesome, let's go for it. Saves us a couple steps here and there, and then you hit OK. I'm just going to hit cancel because I don't really want to go through that right now. But you can see how flexible this program is. So we just showed very simply how you can back up data from a file and folder perspective with the online backup and recovery, how you can do the local or LAN backup for an image-based program, as well as the recovery from that type of file, the simplicity and recovery from this system, as well as the power and the Exchange granular recovery agent that we have for you today. We go to the web portal. Again, you can see a little more information. This is where you would log in to see all your additional information if you were just at a guest machine and wanted to sign in and share a file with somebody else. Any questions on that information? All right, so that'll pretty much sum it up for us today. We'll open it up to questions. There's more information available on our website, and again, you could always go to our list of recorded webinars. You come to SOSonlinebackup.com, go to SOS for resellers, and you can go to webinars or the web integration section, and you can see past webinars that we've run, more information on all these different items. John has a question, can I use a Drobo as a staging server? The point of the staging server is really to have its own resources. So, CPU, RAM, hard drive space. It's not simply storage space. You could use it, it wouldn't be a staging server, it would just be essentially extra storage. The staging server concept, if we go to our support section, is more lined out in the knowledge base area. Again, we have our support chat here to help you. We have a search knowledge base, and then we type in staging. Then we come up with an article, do I need a staging server to use SOS server save? We open up this article, and this gives us a nice depiction of really how we're going to roll out all the different agents in our scenario. So again, image creator, you create an image-based backup across a LAN to a staging machine. The staging machine, again, Windows 7 box, 16 gigs of RAM, enough hard drive space to handle all the images you're sending over. And if you want to use this as a VM, then you're good to go as well. You then would install the online backup and recovery agent to go off-site from this staging machine. The idea is, again, especially for image-based backups off-site, that's a lot of system resources locally, as it's a nonlinear process, and you want it to be able to run, basically round the clock. So you would be able to do that by having a staging machine in your environment. But for your workstations and your backups, or for your workstations and laptops, you would install the online file and folder, or the online backup agent directly on each one of them and just go off-site directly. You can even do that for the file server, but figure, if you're going to be using a staging machine at all, you might as well just use it all together. So maybe map the file server drive as a map drive here on the staging machine, and then you write the image-based backups for your web server, mail server, database server, whatever it is, to a different drive letter in here too, just for organization. Does that make sense? So the answer is, if you have we recommend that you do this, but not going on it. John makes a good point. Earlier it was stated that the client did not have to buy a box to use SOS, thus saving $2,000. Absolutely. You can put a black box together for a couple $100. This is just a recommended strategy for performance sake. It's not something that we require. So what we were talking about earlier is there are a lot of services out there, a lot of companies that require that $1,000 to $2,000 to $3,000 expense just to talk about what backup services you're going to have and then paying for those. We don't require this hardware, but we certainly recommend it, just a best practice. The idea is we're not forcing this down your throat. You can put together whatever black box you want. I'm sure you could come up with a machine for a lot cheaper than a $2,000 server that somebody's making you buy. And it only works for their software. Essentially, this is your backup server on site. John also says, well, not 200 bucks. SOS is 150. Understood. Not literally a couple $100, but you can put together a box, and it's essentially your backup server. So you could use this as another location for recovery. If you need to recover an image and just set up and just partition this with a VM setup, you could do that temporarily while you're rebuilding. So this setup, this hardware setup, is really whatever you would like to do it. And that's the flexibility that we're providing. So we don't require that you buy this. You could certainly run Image Creator to a virtual drive here and then run the online backup from here off-site. And essentially, that's what I just did on. So you are free to do that, but it's always good to not have your production machines running those things. All right, let's get back to, again, just to reiterate, we're providing all this way below market value, and we're seeing that because we see our partners coming in and they're buying like crazy, trying to get in on this. Actually, I had one partner say, "I'm trying to buy as much as I can before you figure it out," and so it's kind of funny, but it's true. This is where we were operating, file and folder online backup. This is where we've gone. And as you see on the left side of the screen, there aren't a whole lot of options. And what you also noticed is that there really isn't anyone who has their name in every box like we do. So it's really nice to see that we can do that. Get in and talk to your partner specialist. We have dedicated partner specialists who are going to really evaluate your business and make sure that this is an appropriate program for you. That who you're serving and what you're trying to do or what you can do is going to work out for this program. They're going to go through a very detailed ROI or return on investment with you specifically so that you can identify right then and there if this is something that you can make money with. We're interested in onboarding partners who are going to be successful in this, as that's what makes our program successful. So we're not only going to make sure that this is appropriate for you, and what level of our program is appropriate. So you call in 877-896-3611. Specialists are standing by. And we also have a Kindle code that you can give them, and we're going to be giving away a free Amazon Kindle at the beginning of next week. So get your pens ready. The Kindle code is 37K5D9. Again, that's 37K5D9. And I'll put that in the chat. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't get a couple letters in there. It's 37K5D9. Good old numlock. Okay. So 37K5D9 Kindle code. Call in your partner specialist. Give them your contact information so we can let you know if you win. Also, while you're talking to them, you can either go through an ROI there, maybe just get some initial information and schedule a meeting later on. But you want to call in and get in today. So appointments fill up quickly. We got a lot of people online today. So again, 877-896-3611. Call them up and give them this code 37K5D9, and you'll see if you can win a Kindle. Thank you all for your time today. It was very good. I appreciate the participation, and we look forward to having you on board. So again, Derek Wood, Partner Product Manager with SOS. We look forward to having you. Thank you, and talk to you later.